I traveled to San Antonio to meet with Dorothy Black, a committee member for the Daughters of the Republic of Texas.
I heard that. I am so sorry.
I had to go home and change clothes. I must have tried. Behave yourself. No, you won't. No, you won't.
I asked her about current preservation projects at the Alamo, one of the most sacred destinations in Texas.
And this was meant to be a church at Mission San Antonio de Valero. But you got this wonderful interpretation of some of the Indians. They incorporated some of that into every Spanish colonial church. I was taken by the Keystone. I always thought that was a beautiful point, and I was here, I'd say maybe 2 years before I really looked at it. And then I started talking to the curator and other people, and I said, what about the two ladies on the Keystone? They said, what two ladies? It's so odd that you can look at things and not appreciate them, but I know that's human nature. When we did the restoration of the facade in 1994, I went and asked the young woman that was doing the detail injection, the stabilization of some of the stone and the mortar, and I asked her, I said, are you finding colors on the facade? She found green, she found blue, she found peach, and she found sienna. And I've always thought, if somebody had the talent and the knowledge, wouldn't it be wonderful to add that color to one part of the facade? There's many, many stories. You want to go inside? You can see this is soft, very soft limestone in the area. And the stone was quarried on site or nearby. You can even see the straw and the other things that they put. This was rubble construction. So what we did was apply 2 different cleaners for small test areas. And we found that the oldest and the simplest with distilled water and this Prosecco cleaner was the best way to go. Very gentle cleaning, trying not to dislodge any areas that you see like this that are just ready to flake off. And this flaking off is called spalling. The limestone, when the moisture is drawn up through the limestone, it effervesces. It makes crystals. And those crystals push the layers of the stone away. So what we wanted to do, first of all, was to clean all the destructive pollution, dirt, oils of hands over the centuries now. This is, again, using distilled water and paper pulp. And this was very, very wet. It was applied to the wall. It was allowed to dry 2 to 4 days. And when it was taken away, it drew the salts, it drew the telltale signs of what was aging and destroying the walls, even though the destruction is ever so slight and even hard to measure most of the time. It still, over time, makes a difference. We thought we saw things that others had overlooked. The date of 1706, yeah. But what we saw, when the light is right, it may be softer, is, and if I had a pointer I could show you, it looks like an oval face. It looks like eyes right beneath it. The cowling, there's even, when the light is right and a little less light, an extended arm with a cross in it. I was standing here talking to the preservationist, and she kept looking over my shoulder. There's a band of green decoration from the mission period. These walls would have been plastered and they would have been painted like most churches would have been. But I was too close to it. I didn't see this wonderful band of green paint. Like I say, just the cleaning and the mundane things that I'm involved in right now. My heart's in the research. Let me go into piles of old records and spend 10 hours poring over them, and then realize I hadn't eaten, and they kicked me out when they closed the archives or the land office or what have you. My great-great-grandfather came to Texas with Jim and Reese and Bowie in 1828, and he was quite a character. He lived with the Comanches. He was adopted by a Comanche tribe. He left remembrances of his Indian mama. He was involved in the Bowie silver mine, or the San Saba silver mine. And at one time over in Nacogdoches, this is true, Sam Houston asked my grandfather, "Where's my horse?" And he said, and he asked him the second time, he says, "Where's my horse? Did Bowie take it?" And he admitted, "Yeah, he took your horse." And he was gone. It's just really, it's really wonderful to know that people care about this site and other sites. And sometimes, you know, we get a little protective about the Alamo, and we get a little bit caught up in it. And I know that there's many other parts of Texas history all over the state, and their history is just as exciting, it's just as important. This battle, for some unknown reason, the Alamo lit imagination and people the world over. And why the Alamo, and why not Goliad? Those men were captured and then said they would be taken out and released to go home, and they were shot down. They weren't even in the midst of battle when they died. They were just shot down. They were just slaughtered and massacred. So the rallying cries at San Jacinto was, remember Goliad, remember the Alamo. But remember the Alamo is what caught people's imagination. You know, there's nothing pretty about battle. Nothing, it's hard to talk to school children sometime. And we get, you know, 20,000 a month during the springtime. Because you don't want to dwell on the death. You don't want to tell them that the reports in the Long Barrett where the blood was maybe ankle deep. You don't want to think about all the horrendous injuries and the way that these men died.
My ancestor was Sam Houston. The easiest way to explain it was that he was my grandmother's grandfather.
Hello, I'm Sandra Crockett from North Pole, Alaska. I am great-great-granddaughter of David Crockett.